But at the end of the day, it is like I said, put the fight on.
Hey, Wack, hey, yo, hey, this shit easy, nigga. Hey, all I'm talking about, nigga, I'm still out here trying to get it.
Contender Regime Boxing, checking back in with y'all, man. What's good? We got Keith one-time Thurman versus Sebastian Fundora, the Towering Inferno, this month, October 25th, only a couple of weeks away. And y'all saw my original breakdown of that fight, right? I went in depth, talked about keys to victory for both fighters, things like that. But in this video, I want to speak more specific to Keith Thurman and his chances and the things that he has to do in this fight to win. Now, the good thing is, and the interesting thing is that scrolling through social media, different platforms where people are discussing boxing, watching different videos where people are giving their organic and genuine thoughts on the fight and the matchup, I'm seeing a lot of mixed opinions about who is going to win this fight and why this person is the favorite over the other. You dig what I'm saying? And that's interesting to me because my first thought would have been like, damn, Sebastian Fundora is a heavy favorite. By and large, I would have expected for people to think that Sebastian Fundora would be favored to stop Keith Thurman. You know what I'm saying? Just beat him for sure. But I would have thought a lot of people be like, man, Sebastian gonna stop Keith Thurman. But a lot of people feel like Keith Thurman is gonna win this fight. A lot of people feel like Keith Thurman matches up perfectly with Fundora. They think that Keith Thurman is, this is a great fight for him. And, skillfully, they view Keith Thurman as above Fundora. And I don't think they wrong in that regard at all, in terms of thinking Keith Thurman is just skillfully and naturally a more talented and a better fighter than Fundora. I don't think they wrong in that. But for me, I look at it, I have Fundora as more of the favorite. Now, I haven't necessarily picked a winner in this fight. I just broke the fight down. But I do favor Sebastian Fundora. When you look at Sebastian Fundora being the younger fighter, the fresher fighter, the more active fighter, the current unified champion at 154, he got the confidence about him. He done been through wars. He done been knocked out. You know what I'm saying? He done tested himself at every level. Now, I won't necessarily say that he fought a guy Erickson Lubin is extremely skilled. And y'all know I'm a huge fan of Erickson Lubin. And he's from Florida just like Keith Thurman. You could, depending on what you like, what stands out to you in boxing, as a fan, you might think Lubin is more skilled. You might think Keith Thurman is more skilled. Me personally, I think Erickson Lubin is more skilled than Keith Thurman. So you can say that objectively, you can say that Sebastian Fundora has been in the ring with a guy more skilled than Keith Thurman, or at least at the same level in terms of skill. So, and Lubin is a naturally bigger fighter. So he done been in there with top guys. He done beat Tim Tszyu twice. You feel me? I think Sebastian Fundora is just on a tear right now, and he's a tough fighter to deal with. He's a tough guy to go 12 rounds with because of his activity, because of the ranginess and the awkwardness and the weird angles that his shots come from. His punches, they come from so many weird angles, man. And I think Fundora, when he's really on, he's troublesome to the head and to the body. He's gonna make you fight even when you don't want to fight, because the length of his body, his arms, his legs, his ability to cover so much ground makes it that much easier for him to cut off the ring. And for a guy that wants to move around, man, he gonna be able to find you and he gonna get to you. And it don't take a whole lot for one of them left hooks or one of them uppercuts from a distance to land on the target. So he's just a tough guy to beat, man. Sebastian Fundora is a guy you got to bring the fight to him. You feel me? Unless you his size or longer, you got to bring the fight to him, bro. It's going to be very difficult to outbox him, stick and move, and you know what I'm saying? Just like use lateral. You're going to have to use lateral movement. I do believe that's one of the keys to beating him, but not necessarily fighting off of the back foot and trying to fight at a distance with him. Sebastian Fundora is a guy you're going to have to fight very close range to mid, but not right there in mid, because at mid, he gonna fuck you up at mid range. You know what I'm saying? Mid to long range, he gonna fuck you up. But you want to be semi-mid to inside with Fundora. You feel what I'm saying? You want to be able to use lateral movement and angles on the inside. That's why I thought the Errol Spence Jr. fight versus Fundora, the Errol Spence Jr. versus Fundora fight back, you know what I'm saying? Like that was before, you know, Earl fought Terrence, before Earl had, you know, the eye injuries and all the things going on. I felt like that fight would have been a very entertaining fight. You know what I'm saying? Because Earl is really good on the inside, giving you angles and throwing punches in bunches. You feel me? That's the type of shit you got to be able to do. The shit that Terrence Crawford can do on the inside, giving you that post from the southpaw or orthodox, and hitting you with all type of shit on the inside with lateral movement, giving you different angles. Keith Thurman, I haven't really seen that from him in recent time. To be honest, I haven't really seen that from Keith Thurman throughout his career. Keith Thurman has always been a guy who throws big lefts and rights, who can box, very intelligent fighter. The ring IQ has never been in question, but it's different having the intellect and the know-how and the knowledge of what to do in the ring to be successful. But then is one thing actually going out there and doing that. We saw him box very well versus Mario Barrios. We saw him box in spots very well versus Manny Pacquiao in his only loss. We saw him box really well after the first couple of rounds versus Danny Garcia, because he came out throwing big lefts and rights, and then once he realized he couldn't stop him, he just started boxing, right? So Keith Thurman can box, but I don't feel like Keith Thurman used a jab enough. I think that's something that I would love to see him do more. And I would like to see him switch his punches up, because, you know, Keith, he liked to throw a lot of big lefts and rights. Now, he really good at choosing when to throw those. You know what I'm saying? He really good at picking his spots with those. Sometimes I feel like he's a little bit too inactive in spots in a fight and relying too much on movement. You feel me? But I never really seen Keith Thurman just get on the inside and just like in close quarters just dig. You know what I'm saying? And give you angles and switch up the offense like that. And I think that's the type of shit you got to do with a Fundora. Now, I'll say this, because Fundora is a really good inside fighter as well, believe it or not, with the long ass arms, because even when he don't get full range of motion on his shots, just his long arms and the trajectory at which the shots are coming from, it still causes damage, even if they're short, even if you don't get all of the shit on them. You know what I'm saying? Keith Thurman, man, I really believe Keith gonna have to leave it all in the ring, man. I think, as you see in the title, I think Keith got to look at this fight as an opportunity to do all of the things that he felt like he was capable of. You know what I'm saying? Now, we talking about Keith Thurman, who has been a champion, right? A unified champion at welterweight. You know what I'm saying? Who had a decent run in his career, but then it got that shit got dampered by injuries and layoffs, and he's coming off another extended layoff. That's another reason why I favor Fundora in this fight. I think, man, of course he's taking this fight serious, because you get in there with a guy like Fundora, bro, you gotta be serious. You know what I'm saying? I don't think this like no money play for Keith Thurman. I truly believe that he's taking this fight because he wants to fight top competition, and this is his first true official fight at 54. All that beginning shit, and when you first start in your career and guys ain't even fighting ranked fights, and they start off heavier because the fights, they fighting guys with 30 losses and shit. You know what I'm saying? And you working your way down to your real weight class, which is welterweight for Keith Thurman. This his first real fight at 54. You know what I'm saying? None of that beginning of the career shit that all fighters do. You know what I'm saying? We seen Earl do that shit. We seen Keith Thurman do that. All these guys do that shit. You know what I'm saying? They'll start out when they first come in, they be fighting at catch weights and shit. They be fighting at, you know, these odd ass weights that might be a little bit above the actual weight class. And then they slowly but surely acclimating themselves to the real weight class. This ain't that. This his first real fight at 54. And he's fighting a unified champion, right? So this is a chance for Keith Thurman to possibly get a Terrence Crawford fight. Think about it. Keith Thurman beats Fundora. He becomes unified champion. That makes a Terrence Crawford fight very attractive. I know Terrence Crawford said no to 154, but if Keith Thurman win and he becomes unified champion, that's a very attractive fight for Terrence Crawford. Even if they were to do the fight at 60, it'll make sense because now Keith Thurman got to fight above 47. Also, it gives Keith Thurman an opportunity at a shot to get in there with a Jermell Charlo. You know what I'm saying? You know, it's so many big fights at 54. It's just so many opportunities for Keith Thurman. Jerron Boots Ennis, Virgil Ortiz. You know what I'm saying? It's so many opportunities for Keith Thurman if he can win this fight. You know what I'm saying? All of the shit about him being, sometimes Thurman, all of the bullshit, he gonna have to leave it all in the ring, bruh, if he want to take that next step in his career. Terrence Crawford just showed you, bruh, and there's been other fighters that have showed you that you can have an extended career if you take care of yourself. Terrence Crawford just turned 38 years old, just had the biggest win in his career at 37, just a week away from turning 38. You feel what I'm saying? It's like you can have an extended career into your late 30s. Keith Thurman right now is 36 years old, right? So I know he looking at that shit like, damn, okay. Bud just went up there 3 weight classes and beat the #1 guy in the sport, dominated him at age 38. I'm 36. You know what I'm saying? I know I still got some juice left. You feel me? And man, this is just a huge opportunity for Keith Thurman. And I think if he's gonna win this fight, we're gonna have to see the best Keith Thurman we ever seen. We're gonna have to see Keith Thurman really just lay it all on the line, man. Like, no holds barred. You feel me? Just, hey, it is what it is. If whatever it's gonna be type of attitude he gotta go in there, bruh. And I think Keith Thurman, if he do that, I think the power is still there. I think the hand speed is still there. I think the IQ is obviously there. And if he can go out there and execute, man, mix the shit up, mix the offense up with Fundora and be smart, but be offensive though. You know what I'm saying? Be offensive, be aggressive, but be smart, you know? And I think Keith Thurman can do it. I think he can definitely do it, but I heavily favor Fundora in this fight, man. I just think he present so many challenges for Keith Thurman, man. But y'all let me know what y'all think down in the comments. If Keith Thurman can win this fight, and I think he can. If he wins this fight, like, think about the opportunities that he have. You know what I'm saying? What does Keith Thurman have to do to win this fight? Truly, because that's my thought process. I think he gotta, like, really get in the trenches with Fundora. I don't think he good enough with his feet to move like that and score too. Like, it's one thing moving, but you got to be able to score. I don't think Keith Thurman really got it. If he do, if he show me that, I say less. I'll be happy to be proven wrong. But I don't think Keith Thurman really got it like that to be able to move effectively and score enough to win versus a Fundora. I think he gonna have to really get on the inside with him and mix it up, man. And if he really steal one time, then he should be able to do that, man. But y'all let me know what y'all think down in the comments, man. Contender Regime Boxing. I'll holler at y'all boys, man.